Hey guys, coming to another movie for you guys, and this movie we're reviewing, I was really looking forward to this movie just from the trailers and the way it was styled. It looked very interesting to me, and I didn't exactly know what it was going to get myself into, and that movie is Hardcore Henry. I finally got to see Hardcore Henry. I actually saw the fan experience of it, the Fathom event that happened, the fan experience, which I will talk about because I do want to talk a little bit about what that was like, and if you guys should have seen, I mean, obviously you only had one chance to see it, but that movie, like I said, the movie is Hardcore Henry. I was really looking forward to this movie. I remember when the trailer came out, I was very impressed by the way it was done because I hadn't seen a lot of movies styled in the way that it was, and I was very interested in seeing what the movie would be like. And overall, after seeing Hardcore Henry, I will say this, Hardcore Henry overall is a lot of fun. I definitely really enjoyed it. I think it's a very fun movie. I can't really tell you what was going on most of the time, but I definitely really did enjoy it, and I think it's a movie that is not for everyone, but I think a lot of people will definitely have a lot of fun with. But let's get to the plot of Hardcore Henry, which basically, if you've seen the trailer, you know what the plot of the movie is. It's a very simple, basic plot, which I do like, but there is a twist in everything, but basically the plot to this movie is that we have this character, Henry. He wakes up, supposedly from this coma or whatever, and basically he remembers absolutely nothing. He kind of has to restart his life, and he's told all this quick information, like basically he is this girl's husband, and this girl, her name is, what is this girl's name? Estelle. Estelle tells him that he is her husband and that he has to do everything she says, and basically he has to try to save her when she is supposedly kidnapped, and basically he has to try to avoid being killed while also trying to figure out what's going on with him. And that's basically the plot of the movie. Basically that's basically the rough plot of the movie. There's a lot more to talk about, but I don't want to get into spoilers because I don't really want to spoil this movie for you guys. It's one of those movies where you go into not knowing a lot about. But let's just get into this movie because there are a lot of things I definitely really appreciated. First of all, the fact that this movie is completely first person and that the whole movie is done in first person style, I think is really cool because you can't really talk about the actor that plays Henry, because the actor that plays Henry is kind of like us. You don't really see his emotion, you don't really see how he's feeling, but I will definitely compliment him because I did think he did a very good job in terms of acting, and I don't really know his name. I know the guy I can't think of his name right now. I know the guy that played him. I think it was I think his name was Ilya Naishuller, I think his name was. He was the one that played Henry. And basically, it's really interesting. I heard from the director that basically this movie was an idea for a music video, and they were going to do it for this band called Biting Lips, who I guess this guy's a part of, and they decided to turn it into a movie, and he did a very good job. I mean, you don't really see, like I said, a lot of emotion on Henry's face. You never see his face till the very end of the movie. What I really like about it is that you don't really need his emotions and face to tell you how he feels. I mean, you can tell by the way he's running, by the way he's putting his hands up, just by motions. I mean, he had to channel all these different emotions. It's very hard to do, and I really think they did that very well. You really did feel this character. You understood this character. I think they did that very well, and I definitely really appreciate that. But I will say, without a doubt, Sharlto Copley makes this movie. He was incredible as this character of Jimmy. This guy is just awesome. Look, I really like Sharlto Copley before. He's played some awesome roles, but this was awesome. I love the role he played here. He was so much fun. He kept us engaged in the movie. He was funny. He was a badass. I mean, he just was the perfect sidekick. That's exactly what he was. But the thing is, you don't see the hero, so he's kind of the hero as well. And, you know, Henry, while he is basically told to fight and kill and all these things, Jimmy is kind of like his guide, and I love seeing that throughout the movie. The bonding between these two is great. There's a great twist revealed about his character that gets you to care a lot more about him, and I definitely really appreciate that. But like I said, I had a lot of fun watching his character. He was definitely one of the things that made me most interested, and also made me like the movie as much as I did. He was just awesome. Everything about him, I can't really say much more. He was just awesome. I loved his character. Danila Kozlovsky as Akon, the main villain. First of all, if you want to see the Fathom event, there is a comic book actually on the origin all about Akon, which I do actually want to read because Akon, how you pronounce it, is a very interesting character once we find out really what he's doing, which I will talk about spoilers at the very end of this video. But Akon, basically, he was perfect for this movie. He was cheesy, he was over the top, and I heard a lot of people say he was way too over the top, but I thought he was perfectly over the top because the movie itself is ridiculous, and it's not a movie you're really supposed to take as seriously, and I really think he did that very well. You could tell he had a lot of fun making this movie, as did everyone, and I think he, for the most part, did a really good job. I really liked his character, a lot of fun. Haley Ben as well as Estelle. What's interesting about her character is that she is supposedly Henry's wife, and you can see she really cares about him, but you don't really know what's going on with her. I thought that was very interesting, and I like that mystery throughout the movie. And then Tim Roth is also in this movie. I'm not going to spoil who he plays, but he is a very important role I don't want to get into. But like I said, acting's not really the thing in this movie. That's not really the thing to talk about. Neither is the writing, because while there is writing to this movie, and I think is a very interesting screenplay, the directing and the cinematography is really the stuff to talk about. But let's talk about the writing first, because like I said, there isn't much to talk about there. Like I said, the acting is good, but the writing for me, for the most part, was really strong. I think the writing in general, the story is very interesting, especially since it started off as a music video and then turned into a movie. They really did come up with this really cool concept of us wanting to find out who Henry is and why he is, why he is this way, and everything, what's going on with him, and why he's, suddenly this robotic character. And I thought that was very interesting the way they did that. But I also love the way this world was designed. I mean, they really thought out this world very well. We don't really know if this is like a futuristic world. I have to believe that it basically is a futuristic world, which I thought was very cool, and I definitely really like that. The things that we find out that Henry has, the advanced abilities, the kind of like robotic body parts he has, just everything about that is really cool. The writing I thought was very well done. I definitely really appreciate it. My writing, I do have an issue with the writing though, and that's really that I could not tell most of what was going on in this movie throughout the entire time, mainly because of how consistent the action was. And I will say, the action is great to this movie. The action is loud, it's, it keeps you engaged, and it's very well done. The action, really, you feel that action, and you really feel like you're right there with Henry. And you definitely get kind of like the video game feel. However, something that I do want to talk about is, like I said, before this movie, they did show a 15 to 20 minute Q&A, and basically what they said in that Q&A is that they didn't make this movie to, try to be a tribute to video games, which in many ways it is, but they did to keep the viewer immersed, and I really did feel that immersion. I mean, I really felt like I was with Henry the entire time. You're going on this journey with Henry, you're just, when Henry's terrified, you're kind of terrified. The way they did that was really great. My only problem is I didn't really care about a lot of the characters in this movie till I'd say toward the end of this movie, and that really is my main flaw with this movie. It wasn't so much I cared about the characters that kept me invested, it was more the action than anything, and I get it, that's the point, but I did like that this movie, really, you didn't have to take it too seriously. The movie always seemed like it was just trying to be a fun movie. It knows it's ridiculous, it knows it's stupid, and I definitely really appreciate that. There aren't a lot of movies I can say this is like. It's kind of like a Kick-Ass kind of movie, but even Kick-Ass, I mean, it had dramatic moments, but it's kind of in that style. Actually, no, Scott Pilgrim pretty much is what I could compare this to. It's like Scott Pilgrim, but a lot more rated R, definitely. I mean, this movie is bloody, it's graphic, it is not a film that you see if you get queasy very easily. It's definitely not one of those kind of movies, but the cinematography here is very well done, because they had a very hard task to pull off. Can you really do an entire movie where we never see the main character's face? And for the most part, I think they did it very well. The action scenes feel very realistic, they feel very ridiculous, and they feel like just you're in a video game, and I thought that was really cool the way that was done. I definitely really appreciate that, and you don't feel like you're watching a movie, you feel like you're watching kind of like video camera footage. Just the way it's done I thought was really cool, and I really appreciate that. I thought the cinematography was really cool, the action was incredible. I couldn't get over how much action, and how amazing the action really was. I was really into the action for the most part. I thought that was really cool, and I definitely really liked that. The editing I thought was kind of quickly edited. Definitely thought the editing was kind of choppy at points, because there is no editing really in this movie. It's all kind of just done in one take, because it's all from his perspective, obviously. And the way they did that I thought was really cool. There were a couple times, like I said, I really couldn't tell what was going on. I do think we got information kind of a bit too quickly, and it is definitely one of those movies where you want to go back. It kind of reminded me of the first Terminator a little bit. If you guys know the first Terminator, we're given a lot of information at once, and then all of a sudden there's just a ton of action going on. That's very much like this movie, and I really did appreciate that, because Terminator worked in that way, and this works in that way too. But just like Terminator, this is a movie where you do want to go back and listen to some important pieces of dialogue, because you might not understand everything that's going on. And I will admit, when we're first introduced to the character in this movie, I couldn't really tell exactly what was going on, but I did have a lot of fun. In fact, without a doubt, this is some of the most fun I've had in the theater all year, definitely, without a doubt. This is a movie you need to see in theaters, and I definitely would recommend that. The music in this movie, I will say, the score feels a bit out of place. Anytime the score or the soundtrack soundtrack is playing, it kind of ruins the experience, because since we're seeing it through Henry's eyes, I feel like it just would have made a little bit more sense to not have music. But again, you're not supposed to take it that seriously, so for me, it wasn't too much of a problem. I heard some people say it was a problem. I also forgot to say they did shoot in real Russia, which I thought was very cool. The way they did that, the way they were able to do that, I thought was really cool. I don't know how they did it, but I thought it was really cool. And the fact that no one actually got hurt, I heard in the Q&A that the most they have was a guy like chipped his tooth and had to get like 5 stitches. That's really impressive in this movie, because if you guys have seen, I mean, that goes really crazy. It's called Hardcore Henry for a reason. They really don't play around, and the action here is bloody, brutal, crazy stuff. But I do want to get into the spoilers, because I find the twist in this movie really interesting. I definitely really appreciate that. Let's get into spoilers, though, because I really do want to talk about it. For me, my favorite aspect of this movie was the twist. I mean, I didn't know if there was really going to be a twist. For a while, I was really thinking, is the movie really concerned about Henry as a character, or is it just more concerned in action scenes? And for the first 2 halves, it felt that way. But then the third half, we finally get that big reveal about Henry, and I was very happy with that, because that's what we want to see. I mean, we want to find out what's going on with Henry. Even though this action is awesome, I really want to know, why is Henry this way? You know, what actually happened to him? And the twist, I thought, was very well done, basically realizing that Henry is one of many that is basically lied, you know, basically told that Estelle is his wife, when really Estelle is Akon's wife, and that Akon has this huge plan, and basically Henry is one of his bots that he wants to use to kind of take over the world. And it's really crazy the way that that was done. Definitely very interesting, and I really thought that was a great twist. It made sense. I mean, you see Henry doesn't want to be one of Akon's robots. He doesn't want to listen to Akon, because Akon, you know, he's told everyone what to do. He's basically controlled everyone, but he doesn't want to be like that. He wants to change something. And that scene where his dad's saying, you know, don't be a pussy, change things around, is very good. I love the way that scene was done. The way he actually wants to make a change, I thought was really great. And you really saw Henry was the hero, because for a while, Henry's just killing people. He doesn't have much of a character, but now you're realizing this is the moment where Henry's realizing who he really is. He is a hero. That's who he wants to be, and I love the way that was done. Really great twist. And then the twist with Jimmy as well, that Jimmy, basically cloned himself to be all these different versions of himself, I thought was really cool, because, you know, he was paralyzed and he wanted to create more versions of himself. Again, I don't fully understand it. I will admit that. A lot of the twists, definitely like the big 2 twists, I don't fully understand. I definitely do want to go back, but I think it's a really cool idea. I really like the way it was done. And overall, I really think the movie did what it needed to do. Is this movie stupid? Yes. Is this movie ridiculous at points? Yes. It's also really funny, though. The movie knows it's stupid, and the movie has fun with that. And I like that the movie never got too dark. It never felt like it got too dark. It never felt like it got too serious. For the most part, this is just a really fun movie. It's a perfect popcorn movie. It's a movie where you go out with your friends, you have a great time watching it, and because of that, I am going to give Hardcore Henry, and like I said, I think it did exactly what it set out to do. Besides those few problems I had with it, I overall really did enjoy Hardcore Henry, and I'm going to give it a 4.5 out of 5 or an A-. It's not a perfect movie, it's not a masterpiece, and I don't think it's as revolutionary as everyone's saying. It pretty much is just like a video game, but done as a movie, which I think is really cool. But it definitely is something that I recommend you guys check out. I think it's a lot. I think if you go to see it, it's a lot of fun, and hopefully you will have fun with it if you see it. But like I said, if you did see the fan experience, I would recommend it. You get this comic book, which regardless of that, get this comic book, because it is actually the backstory of the twist in this movie, which I'm not going to spoil. But if you guys, of course, saw my spoilers, then you know, if you made this far. But basically, let me know if you guys saw Hardcore Henry. If you have seen it, love to hear your thoughts on it. Did you think that it was too crazy? Did you like this movie? Like I said, this movie's not for everyone. I can totally understand if you guys did not like this movie. I at first was questioning if I really liked it, but then I realized how much fun I had with it. But I will see you guys in my next year, which will be for tonight's episode, Legends Tomorrow, and I will see you guys for that. Okay, bye.